Hey there, everybody.
Hey.
We're back. Another fun week. We're what number are we on now?
I have no
27.
27.
27.
In a row?
I don't know about that. Again, I just think we're just making up numbers.
Sorry, that was a Clerks reference. So,
Never mind,
I'm not even supposed to be here.
yeah. 27, that's a pretty long series. So most comics don't even make it that long. So
Yeah. Or host.
Or hosts, or anything. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we're still running.
So how's everybody's week been?
Busy.
Yes.
We've been doing a lot of podcasts and appearances and scheduling them all since everything's been shut down, all the conventions and everything. So suddenly everything's virtual cons and virtual meetings. So now we're getting, for Erie, Florida, we're getting lots of invites for those things. And then when we do those, that increases sales online, and then Carrie has to draw more pictures, so it keeps us busy.
Good.
So, but yeah, erieflorida.com, you can still order copies now. So,
How's the baby spiders?
They're adorable.
I've been seeing the photos. Like, they're so cute. I want one, but I'm not allowed to have any.
But they stay really tiny.
I know, that's why I keep saying, because they're so
They can just be
tiny.
in the jar.
Nobody would know. It'll be in a small little container sitting by the bed.
yeah, and they are adorable. I at
look
first
so
was like,
cute.
and then now they're adorable. She's got them all separated. How many cups have you got them in now?
I've got about 20 cups, and there's still some in the main cup.
Still in the main, because they haven't decided to branch out yet. So,
Somewhere still hiding.
but yeah, she's raising Florida jumping spiders to go with our menagerie of lizards and snakes and everything
So
else.
if you need a pet, message them. They're cute. I actually think
Just in
they're
time for
cute.
Halloween, you too can have a jumping spider.
They're adorable. They're like,
And the colors on them are a little cute. They look. I see him on the videos where he just has little arms.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to say hi and talk to you.
I like the idea that they're wizards casting spells, and that's
Well, yeah.
that's the best way to picture that. So
So last week we had San Diego Comic-Con did their online convention.
yes, that was some crazy
I
stuff.
know we're going to talk a little about that tomorrow night on Nerd Talk,
Yep.
but it's still comic related, so we can mention it real quick here.
Yeah, the new Batman animated
Yeah. Oh,
trailer,
that trailer looked
was
awesome.
Death in the Family, which we discussed just a few weeks ago
Yeah.
when we were talking famous deaths.
But
and how
this one's going to be a twist because you can actually choose the adventure.
which is what happened when the original comic came out, was they had a 900 number call to decide, if Robin lived or died. They're doing the same thing, only this is DVD.
Yeah.
You choose, and I'm
So it
wondering when
gives
it comes
it
on
replay
video on
value.
demand how they're going to do that. But Netflix did it with Bandersnatch on Mirror Black or Black Mirror. So
Video on demand, do you normally get to watch it more than once, or you only get the one viewing of it?
usually you get it for at least 48
40
hours.
so
Yeah,
you can
something.
just binge watch
yeah
it
play
3
and do the
times
different endings. I'm sure there'll be a way to.
and just watch
go through it all.
Yeah, afterwards. Okay, let's see what the ending.
And I saw they were reusing some of the animation from the Red Hood version. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I know there was a good video.
And they did Hush as well, so
Yeah.
they can mesh those in and reuse animation, so it's cheap.
There was a nice little Bill and Ted panel.
Oh yeah, that was
that
pretty
was
epic.
good.
That was pretty epic. And Keanu announced he's writing his own comic.
Is he?
He's writing his own comic where he's going to be the superhero. He's going to be the star. He's writing it with one of the John Wick writers, and they're talking about making it into maybe a movie. So talk about just jumping right to the gun there.
Interesting.
So
I saw earlier today one of the people that did John Wick is also doing Splinter Cell.
as an animated,
Yes. So
Yeah.
I'm like, that could actually be good.
yeah, that could be it. As long as they get Michael Ironside to do the voice, to
Yeah.
go with that. He's still alive, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he's passed away, thank God.
He's too
Knock on wood on that one.
tough to die. So
So let's go ahead and start. If you want to be a guest on a show, be one of our cosplay guests, email us at home or info@comicbook101tv.com. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I promise sooner or later I'll actually start using the Twitter and Instagram more. Don't use those that much anymore.
relinquish the controls. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, I'll give you the information.
We'll be like a political person, and I'll just tweet randomly and see what happens, just to tick people off.
So we mentioned last week Jeff and Holly doesn't have their shop no more, but they're still keeping their pop shop open on Facebook. So you still can check them out on Facebook. Follow Yancey Street Comics as well, where I go pick up all my comics every week.
We go to
I've been
Emerald.
kind of behind.
We go to Emerald City down in St. Pete, and then also Books at Park Place, also
Yes.
in St. Pete Beach.
I need
Gulfport
to.
Boulevard.
They're
I
a
need
little
to get out
closer
there.
to our side.
Yeah,
I need to go there because there's some books I want really bad right now.
yeah.
And then everybody can follow you. Where at?
ErieFlorida.com, and all the social medias are at Erie, Florida. You can find us, and right there, click right there, and you can order a book. You can't click right there because it's a video. But hey, look at that. Thanks for the roll there. So, but yeah, that's where we're at. So.
But some exciting information for me came out this week. So I backed the Jason David Frank fan film he's going to do. Coming
And for
up.
those who don't know who Jason David Frank is,
The original Green Ranger, White Ranger. He's been on almost tons of the different Power Ranger shows.
he's the one guy sticking with it.
He's doing Legend of the White Dragon fan film by Bat and his Son. They actually shared some updates today about the helmet arrived. And the helmet looks pretty cool. I shared that on our Facebook page. They can definitely check that out. I'm excited for this movie. And I actually have a new Power Ranger item coming in this week that I pre-ordered.
All right,
Should be
nice.
here Saturday. So I'm excited. Because I love my Rangers.
I
Them
pre-ordered the
Turtles.
new Curse of Strahd new edition
The D&D.
of the D&D box set, so I'm excited about that because I love Ravenloft and I always will. So
If you don't know what
they
that
did a
is.
comic about that. They did one of the Dungeons and Dragons runs. They had the Heroes of Baldur's Gate go into Ravenloft.
Watch Nerd Talk tomorrow because we'll be talking
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that
as
tomorrow,
well.
yeah.
And some interesting comics came out this week, like Cuphead Volume 1 from the video game. They put out a new comic, a new Firefly
That had been delayed.
comic.
That was supposed to be back out in January,
Yeah.
so that got delayed.
Boom Studios put out another Firefly comic today. James Bond has his own comic that came out. Number 6 came out today. So, and of course, Boom Studios, again, another Power Ranger issue 52 came out today. But there was one that I saw earlier. Oh, Dark Horse Comics, World of Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
So that looked really good. I gotta go pick that up. Looks like more of a graphic novel. It's $39.99.
Yeah.
So it's going to have everything you want to know about the
And
leading
it's
up to the game.
Some of
and
the stuff
everything.
from the art from the game
Yeah.
and stuff like that as well.
So it looks really good. I'm definitely going to pick that up because I can't wait for that game this year.
Or you can go pick up the old school role playing game, Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah. So that's some interesting stuff that came in comics. But let's go ahead and start with our cosplayer of the week.
Yeah.
He has 2 different Facebook. Local photographer and cosplayer here, and well, he actually lives in Miami, but he comes up to Tampa a lot for
Okay, yeah,
MetroCon. Ben's an awesome guy. He started cosplay back in 2004 when he attended his first convention, CuniCon, in Miami Beach. He was amazed the first day of all the wonderful people dressed in costumes. He had no idea who they were supposed to be. When he went to the con, he returned the following day in his Matrix coat from Halloween. And then the third day, he had his Muraco staff that he purchased the day before at the convention. His 2 favorite costumes at the moment are his Lantern Corps suits and any of his Spider-Man variations.
It's a nice Lex Luthor.
Yeah. He's a fully functional cosplay photographer, so it's fun for him. It's like me, because I've done some cosplay and I do photography. Do you cosplay for the day, or do you just do photography for the day? So he kind of has to juggle both of
Why
them.
not both? That's what
Yeah,
I say.
that's the best part about being Peter Parker, Spider-Man. You can get away doing both, and it looks good. Currently, he's working on a Mega Man costume that he hopes to debut next year, with a bunch of lanterns and Spider-Man suits.
Nice.
So if
He's
you,
definitely got some very cool stuff there.
he's a great photographer too. I've known Ben, met him a few years ago at MetroCon, and always talk to him when I see him. Always admire his work.
Don't call me Superboy. and Cyclops. Unfortunately, Cyclops. Sorry. I will never like Cyclops. I never have. I never will. And anybody who does, we should talk. So
I'm not a big Cyclops
change my
fan.
mind.
Prefer Gambit.
Yeah. Everybody
like-
prefers everybody but Cyclops.
Yeah.
So anyway.
But Gambit was always a cool one.
All right.
So our topic's interesting for tonight. It's going to be more comics for younger people.
Yeah, I mean, comics started way back when as reprints from the newspaper strips. That's how the first comic books started. And the newspaper strips were a mix for grown-ups and for kids. The first few comic books were for grown-ups. But then they realized they had this kid audience that really liked the pictures. So that's when they started making the kids comic books for a while. And that's kind of why comic books are for everybody. It's one of those, they've kind of, everybody has their first comic that they've read, and it's probably ones we shouldn't have. My first comic was a Tales from the Crypt, and which was not for kids, but of course my warped imagination, I loved it, couldn't get enough. So I guess that's why I.
So that's what led you the road that you're on now.
It's just one of the many things that led me on that road. But and then but then there are some written specifically for kids, and we, that was what we decided we wanted to kind of discuss tonight was stuff that maybe you walk into the comic shop and you see Deadpool and you see Harley Quinn smashing somebody over the head with a hammer, and and Deadshot.
Some parents don't want their kids reading that.
Exactly. So what?
So this isn't actually geared for like 5-year-old kids. We're more young adults.
I mean, there are comics for those ages.
Yeah, I know.
We were just discussing Pet Avengers and some others that we didn't put in tonight. Invader Zim, any of the Disney comics, stuff like that.
Well, for a long time, what was really missing was the in-between. They were making comics for, like, little kids, and the rest of it was adult, and you were kind of missing this whole group in the middle that wanted to be intro to comics, but a lot of the comics weren't really for them yet.
Yeah, kind of the tween crowd, and even, and the preteen. So that, and that's just it. We discovered, we knew a lot of them, because as a single dad, I was introducing my kids to comics, and I introduced them to some of the right ones, and probably made some stumbles on the way. But Carrie, with years of comic shop experience, she had a love of this. So that's why we thought this would be a perfect topic for her to help introduce. So,
in the first one, I actually read some of the comics, and I watched a series that they put out recently, Runaways. It started in 2003, and it's still currently going. It's written by Brian Vaughan. Series is a lot of fun, definitely stands out for the young audience. It tells the story of the teenagers discovering that their parents are a member of a secret group called the Dark Masterminds.
The Pride.
Yeah.
The Pride is the organization. And it's basically, they're the West Coast. Now, this is Marvel Universe, so this is the same universe that Captain America, Spider-Man, and everybody. But these are the West Coast. And their parents ran everything, so they kind of, that's why none of the heroes and none of the villains went to the West Coast, because it was locked down by this secret organization. And then they stumble on it, and then they start running into everything. Now, there are some just amazing characters in this. My personal favorite is Molly, who is super, super strong, and but she gets really tired when she punches. She's the youngest. I think in the comic she's like 11, and in the show she's like 16, and the others are 17, so she's the youngest. Ooh, yeah. But who's your favorite, Carrie, for the Runaways?
I love Gertie because she has the dinosaur.
Yeah, Gertie is awesome with the dinosaur. You got a favorite?
But Nico's awesome.
Not really on this one.
Okay.
Nico's fantastic too. There's not really a lot of bad characters. One of my favorites is early on they do go to New York, and because their parents have listed them as villains to try to hunt them down, the Punisher comes after them. And the Punisher lands on the roof. They're on this roof of this building, and the Punisher's there, and he's about to shoot him. And Molly uses all of her strength. Now, Molly has punched out the Hulk. Molly has punched out the Thing. Molly has punched out all these powerful supervillains and superheroes, because no one really knows how strong she is. And she's just a kid. She's probably going to get stronger. So she does a full power punch into a very sensitive spot of the Punisher. And the best part is they're like, Molly, he's not super. She's like, he's wearing a suit. How was I supposed to know? And all this. You didn't pull your punches off. She's like, no. And then it cuts back to the Punisher, and he's standing there just going, a soldier never falls. A soldier never falls. He just hasn't moved.
Been beaten by a kid.
Beaten by a kid. Adorable. Now, it has some adult themes, because it is, your parents are evil. They're sacrificing kids. Running a secret organization. So
I owe $1.
Yeah, I'm collecting later. So with all that, it's one of those. It's an amazing story, and teens definitely will get sucked in, and you know, and they bump into everybody. They even bump into the original Runaways from back in my day, Cloak and Dagger.
Well, this is
Which they
definitely-
made a show of as well, too.
They did.
This is a series that shows what a good writer can do. Because Brian K. Vaughan is honestly somebody we'll have to revisit later. But
Oh yeah, we'll just have to do a whole special on him at some point, just as for his books.
And how the show's set up is similar to how Stargirl is, too. Because the Stargirl show, she comes into this city, and all the villains are all the parents and everything, and her teammates are her good people, but their parents are the bad ones.
No.
So it's kind of similar how they're doing that.
Similar stories then. So, do we have the trailer?
Yes, we should have trailer. Go ahead, let's show the trailer for season 1.
Hey, Nico. I've been wanting to talk to you all day. I wanted to get everybody back together. And I know that it can't be like it was. The truth, I miss you guys.
I could build a big machine.
I hope you're right about this not being a big deal.
The last thing they're interested in is what their parents are doing.
You gonna let us in?
Who are they? Why is my mom's purse here?
What kind of charity meeting is this?
None of our parents are who we thought.
Something really weird is going on.
I have so many questions.
No matter what we are, we can't let our parents keep getting away with this stuff.
We cannot let anyone undermine what we're doing. We're gonna need another sacrifice. These kids are living on borrowed time.
We have to stop this. No one else will.
Destructive.
He's the voice of the Dresden Files books. So, yeah,
Yeah.
James Marsters, the voice of the Dresden File books. So
Spike from Buffy.
Yeah.
And he was
Everything.
in Smallville,
Cat,
Brainiac.
Torchwood, he's
Yeah.
been in everything. So
of course, it's a little different for the TV series, but still really solid.
really well done.
Keeps you
And,
into
yeah,
it.
they did 3 seasons before finally getting the axe when the Hulu merger and everything. So who knows what's going to happen with them? I hope they bring some of them into regular MCU because
Yeah.
that would be cool.
I definitely want to see more of it. Next one I know we talked about before as well. I don't know much about this one, but I know you know a lot. It came out in 2014, Lumberjanes.
Lumberjanes.
James.
It's the camp for hardcore lady types. What's her name? Noel. I can't remember her last name.
Stevenson?
Stevenson.
Yeah.
Yes, this is hers, and they are basically, it's very Gravity Falls-esque, where they're in a camp where paranormal things are happening, and they just keep fighting and saving the day. It's kind of fun. Again, really cute. Well done. Lots of little.
It's got what I like. It's got supernatural. It's got mystery. It's, you know, it's just a really fun book with some great characters.
A lot of mythology, and it just keeps going. I mean, they're still continuing this. I don't remember exactly how long it's gone on. I know we've got 4 of the hardcover volumes.
It's still current. They're still working on it.
Yeah, and they look like the hardcover volumes look like Girl Scout guides,
Yeah.
which are pretty
That's
awesome.
awesome.
They're called the To the Max edition.
Now, one thing I found out while studying on this is each episode ends with a track listing from a mixtape
Oh,
prepared
yeah, they do the
by
mixes.
Joan Jett or Bessie Coleman.
Yeah, because they even do the what that's their battle cries or something. What the Joan Jett? Something like that, or it's oh my Bessie Coleman. Yeah, that's their ways of swearing in it and stuff like that. It's really cool. They werewolves, zombies, but all done with a twist that you'll just love. It's charming, but it's also got some genuine scares, which is I think kids need that a little bit. So
Definitely.
So you definitely recommend everybody go and pick this up right
Lumberjanes,
away.
I would
Absolutely.
say all ages,
All ages.
honestly, because there's enough in it for the adults that'll fly over the little kids' heads, but it'll smack you in the face. But then there's also but there's enough for younger kids. I mean, I wouldn't say, under 10s.
Like preteen,
I think if you
11,
can
12
read
on
it,
up.
Yeah,
you're
if you can read it, you'll be okay
appropriate.
with it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I know you can pick up all the graphic novels at your comic book shop.
Your friend at the local comic book shop or bookstore can probably get it for you.
Now, the next one, didn't you say they did combine together?
Oh, yeah. So, at one point, they did a crossover with a DC similar series called Gotham Academy. So, you want to talk about that one, Carrie?
That is one of my favorites. Again, it has the supernatural element that I really enjoy in comics. It's got its own, it's just like a little bit of Gotham where you have the Batman universe sneaking through it, but it's primarily focused on the mystery at the Academy and what's going on. And of course, the main character has a strange past. She was brought there by Bruce Wayne to help her recover from things we don't understand. And I love Maps, her basically best friend immediately there. And they get to, of course, exploring different places in the Academy. Strange things like Killer Croc shows up.
Yeah, they're
things like
looking
that.
for a ghost, right?
And they're
they
looking for a
stumble on
ghost.
Killer Croc, who's hiding in this burned down section of the school. Bruce Wayne owns the school, so that's kind of his tie to it. There's hints that there's a bat-shaped figure hiding in the shadows all the time, and of course, it's a plot twist. It's somebody else, so I'm not going to spoil it because this is to introduce young readers to this, so we'd like you to pick it up. There's some other good bits though. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to make sure we.
No, that's good.
Yeah, there's a ghost that they're hunting for, and of course that turns into a Scooby-Doo style mystery. There's enough paranormal, and is it the Court of Owls or is it another cult? Yeah, they tie into a lot of stuff with it, and then of course they did a Lumberjanes Gotham Academy crossover where the Lumberjanes go to Gotham Academy for a field trip. Which was hysterical. So, and of course the characters there just meshed perfectly. So,
And there's a lot of different characters in this. You have the main person, Olive Silverlock.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have Mia Maps. I can't even pronounce her last name.
that's why they just go by Maps.
Yeah. Pomelin Fitch, Colton River,
Yep.
Kate. Can't pronounce the last name.
I don't even remember Kate's last name.
Or Kyle, not Kate. Sorry.
Kyle's.
I can't
was
read
say which
apparently.
Kate. Yeah, Kyle. And then the ghost they're looking for is Millie Cobblepot.
Oh yeah, they tied into the Cobblepot
So
stuff
they tie
too.
into the Cobblepot family history. So, yeah. So, and one of the characters. No, I said I'm not going to spoil, so I'm not going to do it.
No.
So
No spoilers.
no spoilers.
Read it.
Now I'm interested in knowing more.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's enough twists and turns. DC did a heck of a job with this one. I think this is probably one of the tops.
So something for all ages as well would enjoy this?
Definitely
or?
for a younger crowd. I had enough just because of the DC lore that it was going into. But honestly, the story is very Scooby-Doo level. So
Okay.
not as much I think as the Lumberjanes where they kind of hit a little bit for grown-ups a little more.
I know this ran from 2014 till 2017.
Yeah, they just ended it, and then they were gonna do a follow-up, and then just never did. So
Now the next one we have is Strange Academy.
now that just started. This is Marvel. Is it? Everybody's like, oh, it's Marvel's answer to Gotham Academy. No, this is Marvel's answer to Harry Potter and the weird universe of Marvel magic. So the second issue just came out last week, and I read the first one way before quarantine and got hooked, and so I'm excited for this. Brother Voodoo, Tobias Drum, is running the school, although Strange is of course financing the school. They have that's Dormammu's son is here.
That's an interesting person having there.
Yeah, having there, right? And a lot of people are upset about that. There's a couple Asgardians. There's a giant. There's a Fae. And then, of course, some regular kids who are just learning magic. And the teachers are Scarlet Witch, Magic, Ileana Rasputin, Hellstrom, Damian Hellstrom, the son of Satan, and all the big hitters in the Marvel Magic teach classes in this. And of course, the second issue is all about just surviving your first day. So, and they actually have the school syllabus at the end, which is hysterical. So far, so good with this one. I'm giving it an A+. I love it. It's enough for grown-ups, enough for Marvel historians, but it's also really good, fun academic stuff. So
I know the one character, Emily Bright, she was gifted with the magical powers since she was a baby, and she's even be able to hold death itself at bay.
Yep.
So she's not someone you want to mess with. That's also put a target on her.
Exactly. That's why Strange recruits her for this. And at one point in their first day, they're not even sure they're going to see Strange. And then he shows up and has them fight a monster on their first day. And they have to, survive. So, and who doesn't want your lunch prepared by Wong? Man, come on.
Would be good food right there then.
Yep.
So next one we have, let me scroll back down. My computer will catch up to me. Marvel Adventures.
Okay.
Oh, no, Gotham High. Sorry.
We go back to DC.
I scrolled too far. Sorry.
Not Gotham Academy, but Gotham High. Now, this is recently relaunched.
This threw me off a bit when I was looking at this because Bruce Wayne's Asian?
This is the new one that's coming out.
Okay.
This is the new one that is from Melissa De La Cruz, who writes The Descendants for Disney.
Okay.
They asked her to approach Gotham High again. Now, Gotham High had come out in '96, where it was basically DC as as teenagers, and that was actually kind of fun, and it was really cool. And now they're doing it again. So, but again, they're updating it, making it more modern and more diverse. So we'll see how it turns out. That one, we'll see. But the old classic. It was kind of fun because you got Catwoman and Bruce Wayne Joker were all in high school together. Jack Napier, and now I know they were talking about doing an animated of it, and it died before they even got started. So there's some more Strange Academy.
But how can you have Bruce and Joker be in high school together?
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Well, in the new book, his parents are still alive. And that's what everybody's kind of like.
So he never becomes Batman at that point.
That's what a lot of people are concerned about the new ones. So they're taking a lot, instead of just Bruce Wayne and everybody like the original, De La Cruz is making it her own. So we'll see how it turns out. We'll wait until it comes out. We'll give you a review.
So the next one, since I jumped the gun, it's actually Marvel Adventures now.
No, Marvel Adventures is basically Marvel retold classic stories from their original series, done a little bit more kid-friendly and kind of more with a softer art style, but refreshed too.
So these are all more like one-shot stories then?
Pretty much. They would tell the Avengers stories. They would tell...
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, Fantastic Four, Hulk, Spider-Man. And it would be like, oh, let's retell Secret Wars, but we'll retell it a little less, brutal and, a lot less rapey with Wasp. And then and Magneto. They're still doing classic stories. They've got Sinister Six back, and they're retelling some of the old '60s stories that just don't stand up anymore, but redone with a fresh face and all that. So. And, changing a few of the characters around. Hank Pym becomes Stature, so it's some of the newer Avengers teamed up with the old ones. So it isn't historically accurate, but it's actually what's fun is when they did Secret Wars and they had all the multiverses colliding, there was a Marvel Adventures universe. So it is an alternate universe in the Marvel universe. So it's another what if. So that's considered canon, these stories.
And apparently it ties into the Marvel Universe for Disney XD as well.
Yeah, they actually did some adaptations of the Disney XD shows, which means that the Disney XD universe is tied to the multiverse of Marvel. So, which we learned in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which we may go into at some point, just to see all the different universes.
They just posted a teaser trailer for that.
Oh, the second one?
Yes,
I'm excited for that. That'll be exciting.
So. Next one is New Warriors.
Classic New Warriors.
Yes.
Classic New Warriors. Yeah. Again, they're going to be rebooting that soon. We'll see how that comes out. Everything's been delayed, so who knows. But the original New Warriors, this was when I was a big comic fan in the 80s. At Claremont and a couple others got asked to make a new team, and they said, no, we're working on X-Men only. So other guys came up with this, the New Warriors. Night Thrasher and, oh gosh, who are they? Marvel Boy, Firestar. They brought her in finally from the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends cartoon. Nova, Richard Rider, and he's kind of depowered. And then Speedball and Namorita. So it's all these kind of teen characters, and they just threw them all together and said, hey, let's give them their own series. And they kind of team up and fight Juggernaut, like right with Thor, right off the bat. And so that's kind of throws them into the mix, and suddenly they are, Marvel's new default teen super team. And they only lasted a couple years. Nobody really kind of knew what to do with them. And then they disappear, but then they come back at the start of Civil War. They brought it back. They were making a reality TV show and trying to regain traction. And they got into something over their head, and that's what causes Civil War, is an explosion that they accidentally cause. Fighting
it's all
Pyro.
their fault.
So, or Nitro, not Pyro. Sorry. Loose didn't geek points right there. Sorry.
Next one is one that they brought back already, but it came out in the 80s, was the New Mutants.
Oh, okay. Yeah. New Mutants, new movie coming out soon. So, new version, finally, maybe. The Cursed. This is what Claremont and them decided to do instead of New Warriors. They, him and, who was it, Jane? Oh, I can't remember her name. They were doing X-Men, and they just wanted to keep doing X-Men. So they decided to take all these B-list X-Men and make them going to school at the same time, and have them going, other adventures that the X-Men weren't on. And you had Warlock, you had Rain, who's Wolfsbane,
Sunspot, Mirage, Karma.
Karma. Who else did we have?
Cannonball.
Cannonball. And then who?
Isn't Danny?
Danny. Ronnie. Rain.
Oh, Rain. Okay.
Rain, yeah. Rain, the Wolfsbane. Or no, who's the other one? Magic. Ileana Magic. But who are you talking about? Danny?
No, I can't remember.
Okay, sorry. I'm trying to remember too. Let's check our notes. Do we have notes?
Mirage, Daniel Moonstar.
Moonstar.
Which was codenamed Psych.
Yeah. Yeah, he was their psychic. Yeah, and again, they had relationship issues. They had problems, and it was, again, now we talk about comics for kids. Original X-Men was for teenagers, and it was basically race discovery, and they were basically basing Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were basically Xavier and Magneto. There are different styles of approaching racial equality. And so New Mutants was basically a modern, let's get back to basics with the X-Men. And what they're really about is, kids trying to figure out their place in the world and the world that hates them. So again, it was a nice updating. And now they're doing it again. And we'll see what comes out now. So.
Yeah, I know there were some other ones we didn't get photos of, but you want to talk about Miss Marvel.
Oh,
one
yeah.
of them.
Oh, yes. Definitely. Talk about Ms. Marvel.
Miss Marvel's awesome. Like, what is there not to like about Miss Marvel?
Well, tell me about her.
Aren't they going to try to do a movie with her soon?
Or they're talking about she might appear on a Disney Plus show, and then work her into the movies. But she's been on the cartoons a lot. That she was part of that whole New Warriors Rising or something, or whatever it was, new Marvel Rising.
Oh yeah, which I enjoyed because she crossed over with Squirrel Girl in that, who is one of the other people I think is definitely worth reading.
So Ms. Marvel is, what's her name?
Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan, and she's a Muslim, which was big for the day, and she is an Inhuman, which are a group of people who are on Earth and they have a latent gene, kind of like the mutant gene, but it's only affected by this strange mist called the Terrigen Mist, and it's usually contained up on the moon. You have to get taken up to the moon by the people who live on the moon. Yes, there are people who live on the moon in the Marvel Universe. They live in the blue area of the moon, ruled by Black Bolt and his Society of Inhumans. And they have a dog called Lockjaw who beams you up. He can teleport you anywhere in the universe. And he teleports up Inhumans when they discover him. And then they live up there. But somehow the Mists escaped and got onto Earth. And this was back when Marvel was fighting with the rights to get the mutants back from Fox before they bought Fox.
Yeah.
So this was their next thing, and to figure out, well, let's just get rid of the mutants. Let's make them all Inhumans now. And Kamala was one of the first of the new breed. And she's awesome. She has the powers. What is her powers? It's weird to describe.
She's super strong. She's stretchy. She's got like this odd mix of stuff. Of course, she loves Carol Danvers.
Yes, and she was in love with. She's a fangirl.
She's a fan. She's a
She's a fangirl. So she writes.
She's still in school.
Yeah, and she writes fan fiction of the superheroes, which is great. And she totally ships Spider-Man and Captain Marvel.
Well, she's got that kind of Spider-Man like zest for life and youth and stuff going on that makes him really endearing. It makes her really endearing too.
Now we talked about her best friend. Oh, there you go.
She has a really big hand.
Yeah, that's what her power is, to embiggen. And that's what she does before she punches
I don't want
somebody.
to get hit with that hand.
Yep, exactly. And she's pretty potent. She can also make herself super dense, so she can block bullets and stuff
So
like that.
I know they're talking about having her own series on Disney Plus.
That's the rumor, is that her and which may lead to what Kari wants, Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl!
So, yeah, Doreen Green, a.k.a. Squirrel Girl, which we could do a whole episode on everybody she's beaten. Because she is the unbeatable Squirrel Girl. And she has defeated... Let's give the short list. Who's your toughest bad guy in the Marvel Universe? Who would you say?
I don't know.
Just name a big bad guy.
Galactus.
She's friended him. She defeated him by friending him. She taught him about how to eat nuts. So, yes. So now he's learned the power of eating nuts. So he goes to planets looking for nuts now. In the current run of Squirrel Girl, which I think is ending sadly, or just ended, right before the lockdown, they did a Twitter page at the beginning of the Marvel Twitters, and these are actual Twitters you can follow, and one of them is Galactus.
Oh my god!
And he Twitters to Squirrel Girl all the time now, and the Tony Stark Twitter is hysterical because she's always stealing his armor and borrowing stuff, and Tony's like, stop it. She's beaten Doctor Doom, she's beaten Deadpool twice, she's beaten Galactus, Ego the Living Planet, Nightmare.
Okay, how does she beat Ego? That's what I want to know right there.
Okay, Ego was when she was with the Great Lakes Avengers, because they recently retconned her to be a bit younger, but before she was a member of the Great Lakes Avengers, and while they were a team, they got sent by accident through a portal to another planet. They did not realize it was Ego, and Squirrel Girl managed to tame the local fauna that were very much like squirrels, and they could communicate with her because she could understand their language, and they weren't happy with Ego, so she got the fauna of Ego to rebel against Ego, and he had to cry uncle because they were tearing into him. So that's how she beat Ego. So.
See, I don't see too many Squirrel Girl cosplayers.
There are a few. It's a tough cosplay to pull off.
I've seen one person pull it off. I don't know if Rob can get the photo, but John Barrowman.
John Barrowman did a hell of a Squirrel Girl.
Gosh, yes.
John Barrowman did a hell of a Squirrel Girl.
That's the best Squirrel Girl
Google that
I've
one
ever
up, Rob,
seen.
and pull that one up. So. But Doreen is definitely awesome, and we love her to death, and we're excited. And then teaming him up with Ms. Marvel.
John Barrowman.
Barrowman.
As Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, it was San Diego Comic-Con a few years ago.
Yeah.
And...
that's the best cosplayer I've seen. I don't see too many. I've seen, I think, one at MegaCon once.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Some of the... Squirrel Girl is just insane, the stuff she can do. Now we talk about these as, like, intro comics. What were some of the ones? I like Mouse Guard. I think Mouse Guard is a great series that makes it... There it is. There's John.
Yes.
Always fabulous.
That
John
big tail.
Barrowman as Squirrel Girl.
You gotta rock the tail if you do Squirrel Girl.
Yep. Generally, you need a tippy toe, though.
I love his cosplays. He's done the
Or Monkey
TARDIS
Joe.
dress and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, Squirrel Girl had 2 squirrels with her. In Great Lakes Adventure, she had Monkey Joe. And then now she has Tippy Toe, who has a nice little pink bow. That's how she friended her. But let's see. So
We're talking about Mouse Guard.
Mouse
now.
Guard is
Yeah.
basically the stories of the Three Musketeers and the Knights and some other stuff. Done that style, but they're done with mice. And the art is amazing. Very fairy tale, very incredible
I love
books.
the art on it. I think it's David Peterson. I've been watching him on Twitch because he actually streams doing his art quite a bit, and he's done some other projects because of it. But yeah, he's got his own universe going.
What's the Prince and the what's the one you've got it over here?
Oh, the Prince and the Dressmaker.
Your Prince and Dressmaker. Tell us about
I
that.
really like Jen Wang. Like, I started out with Coco Be Good, which I think is out of print now. One of my favorites of hers, I don't actually own, but I loved, is IRL in Real Life, which is actually like a MMO based story.
Oh, yeah.
Where she gets to know one of the characters in the MMO and realizes that they're a gold farmer, but she gets into what their life is like behind that, which was actually really interesting. Prince and the Dressmaker was the most recent one. That one's a little more fantasy based, but it's kind of a classic fantasy story with a bit of changes. Her artwork is just really charming, and all her stuff is good for anyone.
Another good one for a young audience, done by Image Comics. It was written by Joe Kelly, illustrated by J.M. and Ken Nemir, is I Kill Giants.
I Kill Giants is very good. That actually got made into a Netflix movie.
Did it?
Uh-huh. And
I missed that one.
very, very good. The book is beautiful. It's one of the best art, I think, of any kind of kiddie book where they didn't cut any corners with it.
Yeah, they
It's a lot
balance
of
the
fun,
humor and
yeah.
emotion in a perfect way. It's about the series about a troubled girl that has difficult life situations. She escapes it in a world of fantasy filled with full of monsters.
Yep. And again, it was done pretty well. We were talking about Disney, and we talked about Gravity Falls being an influence on Lumberjanes. They've done some Gravity Falls comics, which are, some of them are just the same stories that we've already seen, but then he's done some others, the Lost episodes, and those are pretty fun too, as a big graphic novel comic book. So if you're a Gravity Falls fan,
See, I never
and if
got
you're
into
not a
Gravity
Gravity
Falls.
Falls fan like this idiot, you need to
You
be a
should
Gravity
be.
Falls fan.
Yes.
So we'll do the 2-finger point on that
See,
one.
our old co-host was a huge
Watch
Gravity Falls
Gravity
fan.
Falls.
He
I
always
know.
wore the hat.
Yeah,
I
but
just
he
never
was-
got into it.
It's basically Twin Peaks for kids, but then there's enough grown-up jokes in it, and then there's ciphers in the whole thing. In fact, one of the villains is called Cipher, and there's codes and secret codes, and you realize you're watching an ARG, and there's enough in jokes.
You
that
can really get in deep in that series
deep,
if you
deep.
want. to
Everything
find it.
he puts in it is there for a reason. So
Now, what about Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur?
we
That's
got
a
that.
fun retake of an older story.
Yeah, in the 60s there was Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur. Moon Boy was a caveman, and he had a devil dinosaur, it was a big red T-Rex. And in this series, a girl who's super, super smart, possibly one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe. Like
Smarter than Mr. Fantastic?
smarter than Mr. Fantastic, smarter than Tony Stark, maybe. I mean, they're kind of going that round now. We got Amadeus Cho, and we've got a couple others. Riri Williams, who builds her own Iron Man armor, who's Ironheart. But now we got Moon Girl. And she accidentally opens a portal to the past and sucks forward Devil Dinosaur. And also some cavemen. And so the story is her dealing with Devil Dinosaur, but the sub-story is the cavemen trying to deal with modern times, and they become a rap group. It's hysterical.
Oh my God.
It makes sense.
That
That's all I'm
needs
going
to be
say.
an
Is it
animated
does
show
make
right
sense.
there.
It all makes sense. Trust me. It's actually really well
Rapping
done.
Caveman, I want to see
And
that.
actually, the artist on that, Amy Reeder, is one of my favorites. I tend to follow her books.
Definitely
and
draws
she's
the eye.
currently doing the new Amethyst series.
Another series you love. So I know I buy that one for you every time it's
I think
in,
that one's
so-
DC.
Yeah.
So.
I know even Harley Quinn did a kids one too.
Yeah,
Harley Quinn Breaking Glass.
Breaking Glass, is that out yet? I don't know if that's out yet. So I think it was coming.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be out already, but I think it got delayed with everything else. So,
And it's going to be a graphic novel as well.
yeah, again, it's her younger days and dealing with her as a gymnast and dealing with her as thinking about psychology and
Yeah,
stuff like
because
that.
back then she wasn't Harley Quinn.
Right. She was Harleen Quinzel. So, and I love that that DC's done a lot with her. They've done a couple novels, young adult novels with her, so which were kind of interesting retellings of from her point of view, some of the events. So yeah, there's the. Yeah, I think that's coming soon. So.
I'm not sure.
What's that other one you were like, Hinch Girl?
Yes.
You were telling me about that one. I haven't read that one yet. So.
It's funny, I read at the same time, there's a book called Nimona, which is really big, and that's the same author as Lumberjanes.
Yeah, Noel Stevenson.
Yeah. So that was a really good fantasy story, but it had kind of an unexpected twist about, well, is the main character actually a hero or a villain kind of thing? I felt like it had veins of similarity with Hench Girl, where she's just a henchman for a villain just trying to get by, but you have some kind of questions about what she's doing. It was just a really fun read. It's very indie, so it's something you don't normally come across, but I definitely recommend. And she's got a couple other really fun series. There's another one called Modern Fantasy that was more recent, so she is worth looking into.
So Rob looked it up. He said the Harley Quinn came out September 2019.
Oh, okay, so it did come out.
We just missed it.
I just missed it. Sorry. Can't get them all, guys.
Another one by Brian K. Vaughan is Paper Girls.
Yeah. That's got gorgeous art. I've only read the first volume so far, but it's set more like in the 80s. But yeah, they're on a paper route, but there's a huge twist. So it gets really wild really fast because Brian K. Vaughan.
And then there's still some classic anime, mangas and stuff that are good for kids too. I know a lot of kids.
My Hero Academia.
My Hero Academia. I know a lot of kids, grew up on some things they probably shouldn't have, like Death Note. But
that's what got me into anime.
Exactly. So, and it's my favorite's Lupin, the animated, but the mangas are for adults. The animated cartoons, they vary from kid friendly to adult. But if you watch Castle Cagliostro, you'll see a good all age one. But the manga of that one is actually very brutal and very grown up. So it just shows you what Studio Ghibli, Miyazaki before Studio Ghibli could do with a story that might be a bit grown up, but turn it into fantasy. We'll
have to do a manga episode someday too.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely
In the cards. Yeah, we could do that. I'll go in my Lodos War. So let's see. What, Snot Girl?
Yeah, I was gonna say dipping into manga style.
Yeah.
That's the Scott Pilgrim author. So that's something
Brian
you
Lee
probably
O'Malley.
didn't realize he's done more recently. That's a really quirky one.
Yep. And we're hearing rumors that there might be a new Scott Pilgrim, but Scott Pilgrim probably not for kids.
I would be happy with another Scott Pilgrim.
Probably not for kids because it does deal with some grown-up issues in the comics. But
a little bit, I think. I looked and it was YA, but I don't remember.
Rob goes, "Oh yeah, just a little bit."
Just a little bit. Just
Scott Pilgrim, yeah.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim definitely.
Teen Titans as well. So Teen Titans is an interesting one because it is geared more for kids, but does talk about a lot of adult stuff as well.
It was Teen Titans and New Mutants came out right about the same time, and it was kind of the dark side Thanos, Swamp Thing, Man Thing. It's the same thing. They came out about the same time. Both companies coming up with the same idea.
And they did a spin-off, Teen Titans Raven. After experiencing an accident, she loses her memory and starts a new life on the last year of high school.
Okay. So yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that because she's always awesome.
I love Raven.
I like when they do they're doing the continuing Batman animated series as a comic, stories they didn't hit but would have.
Yeah.
And they actually have Kevin Conroy narrating them online now, so I'm down with that. So the new Batman Adventures just came out, first issue I think right as things were shutting down. I think the second issue is finally out now. And so, that's another good one to get kids into because that was for. And then then things you'd think are for kids but aren't would be like the Archie comics and stuff.
Yeah.
They're doing more the Riverdale style now. They're definitely for
Archie going
grown-ups.
darker, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch is darker.
But again, if you go back to the classic comics, Fantastic Four, that was a family comic, and classic X-Men, classic everything is, you go back to Spidey. Well, Spidey's a teenager.
Yeah.
He's dealing with teenager issues, and
even current Spidey with Miles Morales.
Yeah, Miles. Yeah, you got Miles with the new Spider-Man and stuff, and that's kind of what they were trying to do with Ultimates a little bit, but the Ultimates went really grown up, and it was like, so that was Marvel Adventures came out, and the Marvel Age,
And if you ever need help, you can just go to your local comic shop, ask them what would be good for a younger reader to read.
Yeah. Some stores have sections set up for it, and most of them you'll see the ones we mentioned, Lumberjanes and all that, sitting right up top.
So if you could tell somebody, if someone came up to you right now and said, where should my son or daughter start reading a young adult comic, what would you recommend?
Carrie?
Well, honestly, I'd have to say, what are they into? Because you can't just assume they'll like any genre. It kind of depends a little bit what they enjoy the most. I just had I happened to be in the comic shop, and someone brought their little niece in and was like, oh, she needs to get into comics. I was like, oh, Gotham Academy, Lumberjanes, because she likes spooky stuff. So I was like, oh, well, I got you covered.
Yeah.
So
Courtney Crumman.
Yes.
Courtney Crumman was what Callie grew up with, and that's one I sadly forgot to put in the notes.
Oh, yeah. Courtney Crumman is so good because she's got such spunk. It's like a dark gothic comic without being too dark. It's just fabulous. She's staying with her uncle, Aloysius, and of course, a lot of weird stuff is going on.
Very limited.
And I just noticed her shirt.
Yeah, Squirrel
Girl.
Yeah.
I try to support the favorite.
What was the other one besides Courtney Crumman? Emily the Strange is another.
Yeah, that was more limited in comics, but it was
hard
still,
to find.
I like that style.
Great comic. So there's Courtney Crumman. Yeah,
it's fantastic.
See, that artwork right there would make me want to read it.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And like I said, that's one of Callie's favorites. So my youngest daughter. So
another series I want to mention is the Delilah Dirk series, because a lot of the comics are tend to be fantasy superhero. This is completely different. This is historical adventure story, pure adventure, where she's a swashbuckling hero who goes and steals stuff from bad guys, and it's a really fun story. So I definitely recommend that series. There's 3 or 4 books now.
Yeah, like I said, I would ask, like you said, what are you into? If you're into Star Wars, pick up one of the Star Wars comics. Pick up Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Pick up Poe Dameron's new comic. Pick up, who's your favorite character? And honestly, you can probably pick up a good Spider-Man, a good Captain America, a good Batman, good, Superman. But there aren't any good Superman comics.
There's always more options when you've exhausted the main ones.
All-Star Superman. Okay, I admit there are a couple. But yeah, just find out what they like. I mean, I used to, when I was growing up, I loved the what ifs because it was, I didn't have to follow continuity. I could just pick one up and go, oh, this is cool.
What ifs were
or the Batman Elseworlds and stuff. But again, they tended to be more grown up. So I was into that. So I'd say Tales from the Crypt. No.
They're doing it on Disney Plus, the What Ifs
Yeah,
show.
they're doing the show finally.
I'm actually excited.
Might actually come out before some of the other shows because it's animated, so they've been able to do it in quarantine. So.
Yeah, we need more shows soon.
Yes, I'm tired. Come on, bring on some more stuff.
There's been
I can only watch Tiger King so many times.
Oh God, Tiger King. When's that going to be made into a comic?
My rumor, the rumor from Comic-Con that I was pleased was The Order might get a 3rd season finally. So, Werewolves versus Wizards. I'm down with that. So,
I haven't seen it. I need to watch that.
Not for kids, very gory, but because Werewolves versus Wizards. Let's see. What's some other good?
Giant Days.
Giant Days is getting made into a movie or a series, I think.
I think a series.
I know it's a Netflix thing, so
yeah, probably a series if it's Netflix.
Yeah, but Giant Days is a great series. So
then there's also Monstrous.
That one I love the art on. I found that the story got a little heavy as you went on, but I thought I like, of course, weird monstery things, so I was really drawn to it. the art is definitely like incredible.
I kind of like Gaiman's Books of Magic we talked about last week with his his episode. That's a real fun young adult. Also a treatise on the various microcosms of mythology and all that. So, Frog Thor. Read the Walt Simonson Frog Thor series. We're gonna do a whole thing on this at one point. There's a bit of Mighty Thor where Thor gets turned into a frog by Loki, and has to lead the rats of Central Park. Has to lead the frogs of Central Park in a war with the rats of Central Park. And then he becomes so famous. It's kind of like a Don Blake, where he was a guy who has the power of Thor. This is a frog gets the power of Thor. So afterwards, he becomes Puddle Gulp, and he actually becomes Frog Thor, or I forget how they pronounce it, Throg. Yes. And he becomes one of the pet Avengers, which is all the pets of the Lockheed, Lockjaw. Lockheed from the X-Men, Lockjaw from the Inhumans, a bunch of stuff. We'll go into pets. We'll do an episode on superhero pets one day. Because
that'll be a lot.
Crypto and Ace and DC, Marvel has their own. It was pretty good. So
we'll go ahead and start wrapping up. Again, if you want to be a guest, if you want to come on the show, we want people to come on the show. Cosplay guests, email us at home@comicbook101tv.com, info@comicbook101tv. You can find Mark and Carrie on Erie, Florida. Definitely go buy their books, have her do some artwork. I got artwork in one of my books. I love it. And that is it.
That's it. We'll see you on the other side. Week.